I'm Jose Cordova,
And I'm Kristen Rodriguez.
and this is an integrative approach on the Case of Helga.
So, for our case example, we have Helga, who has spent time in mental institutions because of deep depression. Um, she has complained about feelings of worthlessness and guilt, and she has had several suicide attempts. Um, she says that she has never felt at home since she left Germany in her late teens, but there's now nothing for her to return to, so she doesn't have any family in Germany. Um, and she is stuck here in New Jersey. And she says that she feels lonely and isolated, and there are no friends in her life, so um, she doesn't really have anyone to turn to or to talk to. And she has no intimate relationships. She feels a deep sense of rejection. Um, and she says that she's recently gone through a divorce and has lost her children. Although she's been out of the last institution for over a year, she's an outpatient and she's come to the day treatment center on a regular basis. Okay, so we decided to use an integrative approach because therapists generally use a variety of approaches on the client's specific issues, and because the most efficient kind of therapist is one who examines the client's needs and modifies therapy accordingly. We have decided to use both person-centered therapy and existential therapy because we feel that these are the two forms of therapy that will help the client most. Both of these approaches promote a change in self-perspective and a general feeling of empowerment in the client, which seems to be what Helga needs to get over her depression. We feel that the best way to integrate these two therapies is to use person-centered therapy in order to help the client feel empowered and capable of finding solutions on her own. Existential therapy can be a helpful tool to help the client explore their feelings of death and being alone in the world. The techniques we will be using from person-centered therapy will be unconditional positive regard, in which the therapist makes the client feel accepted and gives them freedom to be vulnerable, and the therapist assumes that the client is an expert on themselves. We will be using accurate empathic understanding, in which the therapist establishes true caring and understanding of the patient, and will often tell the client their interpretation of what the client is feeling to establish whether or not they have truly understood the client's feelings. We will also be using congruence, which is when the therapist is genuine with the client and expresses who they truly are. This is a core concept in person-centered therapy, and it will help the therapeutic relationship to also be more genuine. Using these techniques, we believe that the client will gain more power over her life and begin to grow to self-actualization because she feels like she has no control over her life since she moved from Germany. We feel that this form of therapy will help her to be more introspective and make new realizations about her perspective on herself. She may feel more empowered to accomplish things and motivated to grow. These techniques will also make the client feel understood and cared for and make her realize that she is not completely alone, which is another issue that she has struggled with. We also wanted to use existential therapy, which will help the client come to terms with her feeling of aloneness and also explore her feelings about death. Because in existential therapy, it's believed that all humans struggle with their fear of being alone in the world, and that this is a feeling that must be explored and accepted if you are ever to feel self-actualized. Um, it will also help her to be encouraged to experience her life and relationships more deeply. Since there are no core techniques for this form of therapy, we will be suggesting new experiences to the client that will help her to create and strengthen new relationships and create meaning in her life.
All right. Therapeutic approach. The first of the two approaches that we will be employing is person-centered therapy. PCT aims toward the client achieving a greater degree of independence and integration. It also deals with a desire to grow, express, and activate all one's capacities and allows for self-directed growth. The techniques that we will be using are unconditional positive regard, accurate empathic understanding, and congruence. These techniques create a growth-promoting climate that allow individuals to move forward and become what they are capable of becoming. The second therapeutic approach that we are using is existential therapy. Existential therapy is centered around one's own existence and purpose and focuses on the here and now. It emphasizes the client's freedom to choose their actions and reactions. This form of therapy also appeals to culturally diverse clients since it does not dictate a particular way of viewing or relating to reality. The techniques that we will be borrowing from existential therapy are actually non-existent, as this form of therapy is not technique-oriented. Techniques from other therapeutic models can be used within the context of striving to understand the world of the client. So Helga, I understand that you have some concerns that you'd like to discuss today. So whenever you feel comfortable, you can voice whatever it is that you'd like to talk about.
Um, I feel really uncomfortable speaking about it with a stranger, but I'm having some personal issues. I've been feeling really worthless and full of guilt lately.
Well, what I normally tell, people in their first session is that it will be uncomfortable. But as they start to feel a sense of relief and feel much more at ease with themselves about speaking about their problems, it'll get much better. So in order to understand your situation, perhaps we can talk about what's been bothering you.
Well, I moved here from Germany when I was in my late teens, and I've never really felt at home since. Starting a new life in Jersey was tough on me. It was a culture shock. Um, I ended up getting married and having kids. But as I became more and more depressed, my husband didn't want to be with me anymore and filed for divorce. That wasn't my lowest point. The biggest mistake in my life was letting myself slip and losing my children. As time has passed, I've been feeling lonelier and lonelier, and I don't have any friends or a boyfriend. I've lost my family, and there's no one to go back to in Germany, so I can't do that.
I understand that your move from Germany has taken a toll on you, and you've had a really tough time adjusting to the culture change and integrating yourself. Um, It was extremely hard for you to lose your husband, and, but your greatest regret is losing your children. Those hardships have left you to feel alone and like you have nothing to look forward to. Is that right?
Well, yeah, I feel like my children are what kept me together, and now I don't have them.
I understand. I understand. Losing family is hard. Are there any activities that make you feel? Are there any activities that make you feel better about the situation?
I wouldn't say it makes me feel better, but it is something that I look forward to. I used to be institutionalized, but now I go to a day treatment center because it's really the only place that I feel accepted. On days that I don't go, I really don't see any sense in going on with my life.
It seems like your loneliness is causing you to see your life as worthless. It seems as if you feel like the only place you feel you can go to get relief is a treatment center. Is that what you mean?
Yes, I feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, and every day is a chore. I don't even feel like getting up in the morning, and the treatment center is the only place that I feel okay.
I see. Have you considered joining a community or a group that is for German migrants? Or perhaps getting involved in a charity of sorts? I feel that these kinds of interactions would broaden your horizons, bringing more meaning into your life. A change of scenery could be a positive thing.
Um, Maybe you're right. I haven't really given myself much of a chance to meet new people, and that is something that I would be interested in, and I'll definitely look into it.